Hello, everybody, and welcome to an episode at the all new or final, an all new episode and the final episode of My Way Conversations with Entrepreneurs Doing Business Outside the Box. I'm your host, Jessica Dugas, and I'm super excited to be here with you tonight for this final, the best of episode. Now, truthfully, each episode was approximately an hour. I could have put it back to back and we could have had a 19-hour marathon of what I believe was the best of, which was every moment of this show this season. This show exceeded my expectations. Now, I've been doing this a long time. Some of the people, the guests that have come on the show this year, there are people, family members, there are friends, there are so many people who don't realize that I have been at this talk show game for years now. And My Way is not my only show. I have a morning show called Project Joy Live. I have of course, the namesake show of the Breakthrough Show Network, which is the Breakthrough Show. I've done other shows, Throwback Thursday, etc. And this show was something that I thought of because the Breakthrough Show itself was always intended to be a little, on the woo side. And I will tell you, we got a little bit woo this season on My Way for sure as well. But this show, the Breakthrough Show was intended to be that. But over the course of my work, I have met so many incredible entrepreneurs who maybe aren't as deep into the woo pool as I am, but it's been such an honor and a privilege. And I literally just sent an email to every single guest who had been on the show this season and said it has been a privilege for me to share the screen with such incredible entrepreneurs who I have the honor of watching do business their way every single day. It is an honor, a privilege, and so special to have you in my circle of people, of friends, of influence. I'm so moved that I've been able to call so many of you friends as well. And I'm excited tonight because tonight we are going to be diving in. Every single episode I asked a specific question. Do you guys know what it was? We're going to get into that here in just a moment, but I asked a question every single episode, and every single answer to this question was so good that we're going to do a little bit of a trip down memory lane tonight. And you're going to hear every single guest from My Way this season, their answer to that question. So hang tight. Again, thank you so much for being here this evening for this season finale episode of My Way, Conversations with Entrepreneurs Doing Business Outside the Box. Again, I'm your host, Jessica Dugas, and tonight we are taking a look at the 19 incredible guests who have been on the show this season. And every episode, I asked a question, and I said, look, there might be somebody who's watching the show who feels like they're stuck where they're at in their business. They've got so many people in their ears telling them how they should be doing business that they feel intimidated by that. They feel stuck by that. They feel confused and unsure if they can really do business their way. So what would you say to that person? So I asked this of every single guest who's been on this season, and the answers might surprise you, but they're so good. So tune in with me now. We're going to take us through all 19 guests with a little clip from each of their episodes and how they're doing business their way. Let's do it. One of the last questions that I've been asking everybody on this series this year is that if somebody's watching the show right now and they say, I don't know if I can do business my way. My mom is telling me to do this. My coach is telling me to do this. The other person that does the same thing I do I just don't know that I can do this. I feel like I'm stuck. I can't move forward. What would you say to that person who's simply feeling frustrated where they're at in their business today?
I guess there's a couple of ways to attack it. I've said, get a coach, but if your coach is telling you one thing and you got all these, think about why you are in business. Why did you start the business? What really matters? What are you trying to accomplish? And does the direction that they're telling you to go take you toward that or away from it? That's a fundamental principle, Dr. Covey. It's habit 2, right? Begin with the end in mind. Why did you start? What's the purpose? The Simon Sinek says, start with why, but it really is, let's think about what drove you to begin the business in the first place. What were you passionate about? What kind of problem did you want to solve for yourself and for your clients?
I would say lots of people have done it before you. Lots of people have started where you are today. They've even started with less than what you have today, and they've made it work. So I believe if they can do it, you can do it. Let's figure out how you can do that your way, your unique way, starting where you are, and let's go from there.
Well, I would say, I'm trying to remember who said this, don't take advice from broke people. But also don't take advice from people who don't have a valid platform for that advice. So, if Joe works down at the steel mill and your mom is a retired teacher and your friend who works at the bank are all giving you advice about how to run your independent business, none of them know what the heck they're talking about. Entrepreneurs know about entrepreneurship. And even I mentioned that banker as an example because they may think they know. They're like, well, I loan money to them all the time, so I know how their business work. They might, but they might not.
Yeah.
And everything changed in 2020. So even someone who had a business 10 years ago still might not know what they're talking about. If you want to find out what will work in entrepreneurship, talk to entrepreneurs. Reach out to entrepreneurs. And if there's a lot of people out there, myself included, that if you say, hey, I'm thinking about getting into entrepreneurship, but there's so much I don't know, many will have a conversation with you. And if you're not coming to take, you're just like, hey, I don't use the phrase pick your brain, by the way. Just don't say pick your brain. The imagery. But, I'd love to get your advice or insights. And, the best way, about to give you a hack here, the best way to get amazing people to give you their advice or insights for free. You want to know what it is?
Yes.
Start a podcast.
What?
Start a podcast about your journey to entrepreneurship, and then bring the people on that you want to learn from, and you can explicitly tell them, I'm on a journey to entrepreneurship. I want to get your advice.
Yeah.
But I don't just want to take your advice. I want to share it with the world. So I want you to come on my podcast, share your knowledge, your wisdom, share how you did it, your story, and help me and my audience. Who can say no to that offer? I don't have any knowledge and wisdom.
Yeah.
Or I'm too good for your audience.
Yeah.
They don't deserve me. Like, how do you say no to that? I don't think I had anyone say no when I invited them on my show last year. And I was pretty much saying, I'm not getting traction here, and I'm trying to figure this out. You want to come on the show? I'm looking for successful entrepreneurs who want to share their story, how they did it. And I had, I think, 50 guests who came on and shared those stories. So, I either just reach out to have the conversations or have a podcast, but talk to people who actually know what. Everyone has an opinion.
Okay. Ask yourself, when's the last time you really have felt alive? Like really, really felt alive. And then ask yourself, what steps did I do to feel that? Because I guarantee that it was somewhere out of your comfort zone, something somewhere. And so the laws are the laws. Just like I said, I thought I've been getting lucky. I wasn't lucky. I was just following a law, stepping into a new frame of mastery on a regular basis. Sometimes trying to eat the whole elephant and choking on it a little bit, but I've always got it out and figured out like, yeah, all right, I got to cut it up in a little bit smaller bite-sized pieces, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to take it because I like the experience that I get. I like to experience life and experience the joys of life. So yeah, there's a great individual in you, and greatness is stepping out of your comfort zone.
Take a nice deep breath and tell yourself, this is my life. I get to choose every single thing that I do. Everybody else has their own life and they're entitled to make their decisions. So many times people project their beliefs out onto everybody else, and you have your own set of beliefs. So what is it that you believe in? And hopefully it's believing in yourself.
That's bullshit.
Yes.
That's what I would say. That's the unfiltered Jen, because it is. That's a way of allowing our own doubts to keep us from stepping into the highest potential that you know you're capable of. And it's really like, go after the dreams, go after the desires, stretch your limits. If anybody's going to hold you back, don't let it be you. Don't let it be.
I would say have a look at who's around you, who is actually telling you this, okay? And I always find it interesting how people who've never had a business feel like they can advise you to not go into business. I think, but you've never done it. I mean, if it's someone has had a business and they failed, I want to listen to that person. I'm still sure it wouldn't stop me, but at least that would be a worthwhile conversation to have, because maybe I can find out what mistakes they made so I don't make those same mistakes.
Right.
But we're taking advice from people who've never run a business, who are indoctrinated into this idea of you go and get decent grades and then you either go to college or you go and learn a trade. Why would you be listening to it's a bit like, I don't know, it's a bit like taking advice for, on the best ways to run a marathon by a golfer.
Yeah.
I'd be like, well, that's not what you do. You guys get into a caddy and you get driven around.
Yeah.
So you're not going to take advice from that person. So yeah, I would, one of the biggest success stories for me was getting myself a mentor early on. So go and find a business mentor, you'll find some business mentors who don't even charge. A business coach will charge because they're coaching you through the entire business. But a mentor is really just mentoring you. A lot of them just do it for free because they just like helping people with business ideas. Go and find yourself a mentor and start, going into networks and networking with entrepreneurs. I'm in a number of vegan and plant-based entrepreneurial circles, and I'm always so happy when you get the odd one or two people who don't even have a business yet, and they just turned up and they just said, I just want to soak in the atmosphere. I thought, oh my God, you're going to go places. You don't even have a business yet, but you're already just wanting to be around entrepreneurs just to get a feel. Go and do that, and get advice from people who are doing it. Even if they failed, that person's advice is so much better than someone who's never done it before.
I love that question. You asked the best questions.
Thank you.
And I would say that if for whatever reason you're holding yourself back, ask yourself why. What's the worst that could happen? And what's the best that could happen if you're willing to put yourself out? But again, look at your motives, because if you're doing it to prove people wrong, if you're doing it to show up somebody, then it's probably for the wrong reasons. If you're really doing it because you're being called to do it, because it is your life's work, because you have been literally touched as the person to do what you're being called to do, go out and do it. Because when you get to the end of your life, I'm looking at the age I am now, and I just saw that the Leave It to Beaver older brother, Wally, he passed away. He was 77 years old. And I'm thinking, life doesn't last forever. And when we get to the end of our life and we look back, are we going to say, I wish I would have, I wish I could have, or are we going to say, I did it and I did it my way?
It makes me think of a story that I heard from a Chinaman when he was asking people the right to passage was to climb this highest mountain in China. It was some 15,000 feet. And it was coming to his time in his life where he'd have to climb the mountain himself. And everybody that would have gone to the top of the mountain had come down, he was asking them, you know, how did you go? How did you do it? And 50 times he would ask people, and 50 times they would give him a different answer. And it's not until he went and he scaled to the top of the mountain on his own that he realized his answer was different than theirs as well. Yeah. So the reality is we all do it our own way. We can find helpers out there and people who give us pieces of the puzzle and components, but ultimately our breakthrough, excuse me, is when we find ourselves and we live who our true person is and allow the world to embrace what it is we have to offer. We all have a gift, you know, and you find what that is, and that's what comes easiest to you, and just marinate in it and just be happy that that gift was given to you by God, and ask God to give you the direction, because you're intuitive and your gut feeling, those things are real. And you pay attention to that voice and develop that relationship, and you will have no idea what's going to happen to you.
I'm so glad you asked. Because Greek mythology, as always, has the answer. Anyone that would say that, I would say, let us go on a trip to the Oracle. Now, for those of you who don't know, and I know you know this now, Jessica, the Oracle was a prophetess of the god Apollo who lived in a town called Delphi or Delphi, either pronunciation is okay, in Greece. And for 9 months of the year, she held court basically in this temple, and people, they might have been peasants, they might have been farmers, they might have been kings, would line up at her temple to have a word with her. And if you lined up to her temple and you finally were at the head of the line and could see her, you were allowed to ask one question, and one question only. And she would always give an answer. And that answer wouldn't always make immediate sense, but it was always true. As with every other character in mythology, the Oracle represents our inner voice inside. Part of what I believe we need to do is figure out, by working with a coach or whomever else you want to, what that question is that you're looking to have answered, and then dig deep within the inner Oracle to uncover the treasures that you have within. They might be related to, and I personally believe it's usually a combination of your purpose, your inner truth values, your spiritual, your social, your spiritual orientations, and tie them all together and begin to then work to unjumble them into a narrative that represents a framework for who and what you want to become. But you have to visit the Oracle, you have to ask her the question, and then you have to be prepared to receive before that can happen. But like I said, Jessica, she sits within you.
Why not? Like, what's physically stopping you? Nothing is physically stopping you from doing it. It's your mind stopping you from doing it. Give it a try. See what feels natural. But if you feel dead set on trying what everybody else is saying, try it. It may feel good. If it don't. You don't have to do anything. Be that stubborn little kid that your mom was trying to get to clean up the room. Say, I don't want to do it. It's okay. You don't have to.
Suddenly we forget how to be that way when no one's telling us
right?
to clean our room anymore.
I know, right? You got to learn how to put your foot down. You got to do what feels good for you. You got to. You absolutely got to. Because if you don't do what feels good for you, you're not going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Doubt the doubt. Have faith in your dreams and desires, and just know that you're supported. You know, even if you don't see the support around you in the physical world, know that you're supported in the non-physical. There's plenty of people here to help, and know that you are supported. So go out, go for your dreams, you know, go for it.
Give it a try and see what happens. One time, this is a funny story that just came to mind. I went to the SBA in California, And I was talking to somebody. I was thrown out of a chamber of commerce because somebody who was in there long term was jealous, I think, that I was taking her clients away. So I was thrown out. I went to the SBA, and the woman happened to tell me she was from Peru. Well, in college, I had taken Quechua, language of the Incas, and I memorized one sentence. So I said to her, suddenly, my tata jrinka kuyan. She almost fell off her chair. That translates to, where does this narrow road lead to? And then she gave me all kinds of leads for business. It was incredible. And we became friends after that.
Wow. Wow.
So do things your way. That's another example of doing it my way.
Ignore everybody else and do it your way. There's certain skills and stuff that you need to know how to do and learn, and we all have to do that when we're building our business. But as far as number one, be authentic. Your authenticity is going to take you so far, and it's also, we're each these individual snowflakes. We each have this passion and this purpose to share with the world, and your individual passion and purpose is for you to do, and to do it your way. If you try to do it any other way, then you're not really being you, right? You're being somebody else. Mm-hmm. And I've noticed with clients, family, friends, myself, that when you do it your way, your unique self, that's what's going to take you the furthest. Mm-hmm. Because that's what you're here incarnated on this planet to do, is to be you and nobody else.
I love it. I love it. All right, Casey, what would you say?
Yeah, well, I totally agree with her. And then the last bit I would add is, you are inundated with, especially when you're starting a company, these steps. This is the way to do it. You're not getting this because da 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 da. I've done this. And if you're seeking out a solution from somebody who is playing off of fears, like telling you can't, you probably should run away from it. If it's feeling expansive to you, if you're, maybe you are drawn towards some program that could help you, a coach, let's say, if it feels expansive and like, yes, run for it for sure. But if it's because you're being told you can't do it without this person, then they don't have your highest interest in mind, and they're looking out for themselves. So I would, like she said, it really boils down to that authenticity. Be who you are, show up 100% as yourself, and do it your way. Do it your way, because the creative genius that can come out of that, when you just allow it, will blow your mind and it will feel incredible.
I think this is something that you have to really learn and internalize, but you have to trust your gut. You know what you want to do. You know how you want to do it. Just do it. And you know what? If it doesn't work out, you learn something. Awesome. If it does work out, you're a step further. Awesome. It's a win either way. It's your business. Everybody has an opinion. And take it. There are smart people out there. Take it for what it's worth. But, when I started, there were all of these internet marketing seminars, and this is how you do internet marketing. And I tried it, and honestly, it felt icky to me, and it never worked for me. So if it isn't right for you, it's not going to work for you. You have to find what works for you, the individual person that you are.
Well, so I think there's two things. I think, when we're stuck, we can't do it alone. And we have to recognize that our ability to, when we are feeling down on ourselves, or we are stuck in holding on to something that does not last, community is always the way out. Those people who see a bigger version of ourselves, who see possibility where we see failure, are people we need in our lives. Now, advice is a very different thing than shared experience, right? I can tell you what I think you should do, and I will most likely be wrong. But if I share with you what I what happened to me and what I did in a similar situation, that might open up a bigger version of yourself. Yeah, a bigger or open up a bigger possibility for yourself, and that's exciting. So have community, don't take advice. Really look for shared experience. Yeah.
Okay, so there's a couple of things there. Number one is, if people are giving you advice, don't take advice from someone who's not successful in the area they're giving you the advice.
Okay. Say that again.
Don't take advice from someone who's not successful in the area that they're giving you the advice. Okay, it's very important.
That's a good one.
Yeah. But the other thing is, you can be successful in anything. You just have to embrace it and do it your way, right? There's nothing you can do in this world now, this connected world, that people will not pay you for. Right? I was on at my friend's place, and they were watching this guy doing a Twitch stream. He was playing video games, and he has a few 100,000 followers. And he put a challenge out that, as long as you guys keep paying me money, I will continue to play, and we'll see how many days I can go. He was on day 3 playing video games straight. And I looked at how many people were online watching and the rate at which the money was coming in. And he was making $1,000 an hour for 3 days straight.
Oh my God.
Okay. So he was up to $72,000 for playing video games for 3 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I mean, look, and we see stuff like that all the time. Haven't you ever been scrolling through social media and you see a product come up on your thing, on your feed, and you think to yourself, who the hell would buy that?
Mm-hmm.
But here we are. Somebody's buying it.
Yeah.
The pet rock, for example.
Yeah. There's always a market. And here's the thing. If you have a product or a service and you align with 0.0000001% of the population, you have 70,000 customers. Okay.
Wow.
So you don't need to have that many people in your corner.
Yeah.
Oh, because I think living a life of authenticity is so important. If you're not aligned with anything you do, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're working in the corporate world, whether you're working retail, anything, or hobbies, or choosing the life you live every single day, is so important to live in that alignment and live in that authenticity, because then I truly believe we are living with God's love, and that we are following what he has destined for us in terms of what truly aligns with us here. And that leans into a little bit of my faith and trusting, having that trust in him. So
I get teary. I'm having a whole moment over here, because that song is just it is exactly what we're trying to showcase on this show. And the lyrics, some of them, the record shows I took the blows. I did it all anyway. I did it my way, despite everything else that's gone on. And I have to tell you, on a very personal note, Michelle, you've inspired me today. And even the previous conversation that we had prior to the show, we all go through things, And I was telling my husband and my son about you before we came on, and I said, you know, this is the reason I want to do the show. And when things are going on in my life, these are the kinds of people that I want to surround myself with. And I'm sure you feel the same, that it's so important who we have in our circle and the kinds of people that we choose to associate with, the people that see both sides of things, the people that are open-minded and open-hearted to receive different things. I would love for you to take a moment, if you'd like, Michelle, let everybody know where they can find you, and perhaps you have a message of gratitude as well for the person that passed that beautiful video on to us today.
Yes. Well, really, Jessica, I mean, I hope that, you know, we've shared my way. Yes. Thank you, Brittany. You know, that we've given a lot of suggestions and tips and insights. And I'm just grateful, honestly, to be alive at this auspicious time on the planet. I know it's challenging, but as you all know, it's also a blessing, right? For us to, and I think to be alive, talk about gratitude, to then show our gratitude by making, right, our unique contribution that only we each can, No one else can be you, right? And it's a gift. It truly is. And so, you know, my last words are, you know, get to know who you are, get to see your beauty. And it's easy to forget. We're critics. I get that, right? But again, we'll surround ourselves with Michelle's and Jessica's so that they can remind us, right? Yes, that's the struggles there too, as well as, you know, the blessings and the joy and the gifts. And there's a lot to be grateful for.
Hi, I'm Jessica Dugas, and while you might know me as the creator of the Breakthrough Show Network, I'm also a mom of 6 children. Once I became a mom, I realized very quickly that not all children everywhere start out with the same resources and support in life. Recently, I learned of an organization that believes that no child anywhere should be marginalized. The Gratitude Network identifies visionary social entrepreneurs who are working with children and youth around the world and provides them with the capacity-building resources to grow their organizations to impact 5 to 10 times more children or youth in scalable and sustainable ways. The Breakthrough Show Network is proud to host several of the world-changing entrepreneurs that are part of the Gratitude Network. If you're a social entrepreneur who serves the youth of the world and would like to learn more about being a part of the Gratitude Network, or if you're a person or business who would like to support the mission of the Gratitude Network, I invite you to visit gratitude-network.org to learn more. Together, we can improve the lives of children and youth around the world. Welcome back to My Way, conversations with entrepreneurs doing business outside the box. It was, as I said earlier, such an honor, privilege to be a part, to host these incredible conversations with even more incredible guests this last season. It's hard for me to believe that it's been a full year of doing this show in particular. I feel like I sat down with Michelle yesterday and had that beautiful conversation where she shared that song, that version of My Way, where every person in the chorus and in the band was doing the song their way, but yet coming together and doing it together. Whether you're on live or on the replay, I would love for you to share maybe who your favorite guest was. If you're watching and you were a guest, you're absolutely allowed to say you, that's for sure. Or let me know your biggest takeaway from the show. One of the biggest things that stuck out to me was when we had Peter Laughter on the show. Because, you know, so many of our guests, we really did focus on, you know, each our own individuality, the importance of doing things my way. But Peter said, community is always the way out, and to take shared experience, not advice. And I love that so much because of the fact that that is the direction that the Breakthrough Show Network is truly headed for 2023. Each of the shows on our network has been about the individual hosts, the individual message, the individual shows. But at the end of the day, we are a community that's coming together. You can absolutely go and start a live stream show or a podcast on your own. But with that, there is a lacking in community. There is not this place that you can go 24/7 to have trusted people, give you advice or shared experience, as Peter puts it, to help you on your journey, not just with your show, but on your journey of life. And I'm super excited to be at the helm of the Breakthrough Show Network. It is an honor for me to do that, just as it was for me to do this show this season. I am unsure at this time if My Way will come back for a second season for 2023. It most likely will, but not sure at this time. However, if you have enjoyed this series and you're like, Jessica, I need a season 2, please send me a message. Either, if you know me on social media, you can just message me on social media, or you can send an email to jessica@thebreakthroughshow.com and be like, Jessica, hello, shake me. Say, I can't live without season 2 of My Way, and let me know. And I will for sure, take that into heart, to consideration as we are moving forward. I want to finish off with a couple of things. First and foremost, I want to give a huge thank you to every single guest that came on this season. Stephen, Joe, Michael, Clifford, Nicole, Jen, Matali, Kathleen, Vince, Scott, Grim, Joel, Eleanor, Darlene, Casey, Judy, Peter, Shiraz, Loren, Michelle. Thank you so much. I want to thank all of you who have been in the audience every other week with me here. It's been a lot of fun. I know that you've gotten a lot out of it. I've received your messages and I appreciate you so much for that. I would invite you to visit thebreakthroughshow.com, click on the graphic for My Way, and go watch more of the episodes. If you missed any, if you saw a little glimpse of someone tonight that you might have missed before and thought, I want to watch them, you can go catch every episode at thebreakthroughshow.com. What else do I have for you? There's a couple things. First, as I mentioned about community, if you have ever been interested in having your own live stream show and you want that community atmosphere, I would love for you to reach out. We have a couple of really unique opportunities coming up in 2023 that I would love for you to be a part of, and would love to chat with you about that. So for sure, reach out. The second thing is, since this is the last episode, I do want to give a little shout out. This year was really challenging in that we actually had to say goodbye to one of our own on the Breakthrough Show Network, our friend, our guest, one of the most inspiring people I've ever met, passed away just last month, and her name was Dorothy Auger. And Dorothy was so many things to me. As I said, she was a guest on the Breakthrough Show and Project Joy Live. I hoped one day to have her on My Way, but that didn't happen. And she was the author of a poem called For Love. And she absolutely embodied what My Way is about, which was doing things her way and sharing the message of that to everyone. And her way meant that in spite of war and sadness and frustration and anger and grief, to stand for love, to choose love anyway. So tonight, as we're leaving, you're going to hear my beautiful friend Dorothy reading her poem For Love as we finish out the show. I want to thank you all again for being here this evening with me. I appreciate all of you that came through in the comments. I know Grim was here this evening. Awesome. Grim said, I love My Way. It's great to hear others' experiences and see things from a new perspective. Thank you for that, Grim. I appreciate you. I know Judith came through as well. Hi. What brings me joy? This show brought me complete joy this year. It was a lot of fun. And through my own trials and challenges that I was dealing with, it reminded me every other week. If nothing else, I feel like that's what this show did for everyone, which is just that faint reminder to just do things your way. Do it anyway. Do it despite, do it in spite of, do it because, do it your way. I absolutely, that brought me so much joy to be able to provide the space for that. And of course, Miss Brittany was here this evening. Good to see you, Miss Brittany. So that's it. It's the final My Way. I'm your host, Jessica Dugas. Whether I see you next year for this show or any of the others here on the Breakthrough Show Network, I want to remind you, always, always do things your way. I'm your host, Jessica Dugas, and we'll see you again soon. Have a great night, everybody.
I shall stand for love, even with a broken soul, even with a heavy heart. I shall stand for love, for the world is wounded, not just my little land, where I am mostly safe, where I am mostly well, but our world, everywhere, every day. I shall stand for love, because we need more light, not more death, not more power, not more bombs. I shall stand for love, so that our children are safe, so that our friends are sheltered, so that our borders are open. I shall stand for love, even with a broken soul, even with a heavy heart.